Hey guys and gals, Von Baden here with Nightmare Creations, and we are going to talk about the Daybreaker sword and what I did to get the look that I have on this right now. So stay tuned. Alright, here we are again, getting ready to look at this beast of a sword. Let's see if I can get a little bit lower. So, a lot of different elements here. Give you a little bit closer look. Never mind this red here. I'll talk about that in a minute. Alright, so what I did was, after I show you this side where I had some of the stuff bleed through, but not a big deal. I did the pleated hammered look into the foam here, and once that was all done, I went through and heat sealed everything with the heat gun. I did 3 coats of Plasti Dip on it. I initially was going to just go with this antique pewter hammered look, and I did like a test square on it, and it was too dark. I was afraid that with the different things that I wanted to do, that I would lose some of the detail. So I changed things up, and in my paints I had this metallic silver here. So I did it all in metallic silver, and I had the opposite issue happen. It was too bright and shiny. So to dull it down a smidge, I did a very, and I mean very, light dusting with the antique pewter over the silver to bring that brightness, which is still, I mean, it's pretty solid there, but it did bring it down a bit. Then to grime it up a bit, and this was one of the main reasons why I didn't do both sides yet, was I wanted to show you the before and the after. Once again, never mind in this red there. We'll talk about that momentarily. Anyways, so once I painted it and it was all done, I took some of this acrylic black, and I did a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts water, 1 part paint, and had a very watered down, which is part of the reason why I got all these splotches here on this side. But basically washed it all down with the black acrylic paint. Gave it a few minutes, not very long. I did not let it dry, and I went through and if you want to have that grimed up, dirty look, you don't want to take and wipe. You want to kind of just pat. And what it does is it pulls all of the dark paint off of your high points and leaves the stuff in the details. After that, I went through and I painted like all these red notches that you see in there. I painted those using Plat FX red metallic, and getting those details of looking like the blade's been banged up and it's been damaged and things of that nature. I wanted to do and bring some more detail to it. Then I went through, and this next part, I'm going to tell you what I did wrong and what I will be changing for the other side. And in case you decide to do it, you can avoid making the same mistakes I did. This was the very first time I've tried this painting technique, but what I did was I took 2-part epoxy, acrylic black, and I have a different red. This is Pyro by Plaid FX, and I used a chip brush because you're going to want to throw this away. I did a smidge of the black and a smidge of the Pyro red and the 2-part epoxy, mixed them together, and dipped the brush into it, and I gooed it up and splotched it on the sword. Now, a few things. I used a 3-inch chip brush. I would probably go with a smaller chip brush than I did, because, not thinking about it, I ended up with some pretty big smudges. You might want to do some smaller ones, because you can always add to the smudges, which is easier to do than try to take away smudges you've already put on. Also, you want to do a very, very bare touch of paint. If you dip it, you get massive deep smudges, which you may or may not want. Once this dries and I can flip it over, I'll do the other side. The same thing. I'll probably go out and get some 1-inch or chip brushes to do the 2-part epoxy, the black, and the Pyro red. I was trying to find a decent combination of black and red paint with the epoxy, and this first part was basically kind of like a 2-part red, 1-part black, and it just come out too red. Now, granted, this part of the sword is going to be covered with the sides from the skull and all of that fun stuff, so those are little details that I will not be making those same kind of mistakes on the other side. So be on the lookout for the next stage in this. I won't probably do a video on that, but doing this side, but I will when I get to the point of attaching the skull and wiring it up and getting smoke and all of that elements into this sword. And that pretty much covers the horror and gore of this sword. Oh, I will be doing a clear coat on this to seal all of this in and give the blade more of a shine, which will make that epoxy, should make that epoxy pop even more. There's not one of those on there yet. So, if this is your first channel and you enjoyed seeing how I made this sword look, like it has chopped up and chewed up and spit out some people, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you got any questions or comments, leave those down in the section below, and I will see all of you on the very next video. Thanks. Bye.